Greetings, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Journey to Bliss, and I am Miss Bliss. We have this evening two guests. We have Catherine, who is here from WBAI Radio, and then we also have another guest who will be joining us in a few minutes, the brother Duke from Community Cuts. Tonight's topic is motivational talks. So, motivational things to say to inspire you or to keep you going for 2024. So, it's M&M's, actually, the title is M&M. So, it's Motivational Messages. That is the actual title of it. And so, we want you to go from in your cocoon and turning into a butterfly as you create and manifest and move forward with 2024. So, Catherine, do you want to take this opportunity to introduce yourself?
Okay, that sounds wonderful. My name is, there's a little bit of feedback. Are you hearing that?
No, I don't hear no feedback.
Okay, good. My name is Catherine Davis. I host a program called Heart of Mind on WBAI Radio. It's also on the Progressive Radio Network. And it's about consciousness, spirituality, and health. I am also a Qigong teacher and energy healer. I do Reiki as well as the Sandlin technique, which is a Cherokee form. And I do a little bit of Aztec healing as well, working with the obsidian mirror. So my calling really is to work with people in healing. I feel healing is largely a self-empowerment. We each can heal ourselves, and I work towards empowering people to be able to do that.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I know that you did Qigong, and if I remember correctly, it's what, 2 or 3 different types of Qigong that you study?
Well, yeah, I've studied a number of different forms of Qigong. Soaring Crane Qigong, Essence, Jade Body Qigong, Turtle Longevity Qigong, and the Super Energy Method. I traveled and studied in China 3 times. I've studied with several Qigong masters here, and I've been teaching for about 30 years.
Wow. Oh my goodness. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So, as you know, my background is Tantra and psychedelics, and I feel like Qigong is right in alignment with all of those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel the same.
Yes, absolutely. So, you mentioned also something, I think you said mirrors, obsidian
The
mirrors.
obsidian mirror, that's I studied with a lineage holder of the Aztec healing traditions and the from Mexico actually, and they work with sacred meditation and chants, and they used the stone obsidian, which comes from lava, I believe. And
Yes.
you learn to use the stone to kind of read into and get insights from.
Wow. So, it's sort of like a divination tool.
It's a little bit like a divination tool, and it gives insight really into the self or into the person for the person that you're working with. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I would like to try that. I actually work, I'm not sure if you're familiar, I actually work with the Black Mirror. And it's like a divination tool where you can get insights looking into the mirror and getting
Sounds
the
like very similar or the same, maybe
yes,
not quite the same tradition, but the same effect.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So would you like to start with your 2024 motivational message, or would you like, is Duke ready? I think Duke is still on the phone.
Yeah, he's dealing with something that came up. He'll be joining us in just a moment.
Okay.
I think that what I've come to realized at this time, as I was contemplating the new year, is I came to be inspired by what is really needed is discipline, self-discipline, discipline of mind, discipline of practices, and really engaging from one's deeper self. But it needs to come through with a level of being honest with yourself about what you can and can't do, and being willing to do what you need to do to reach whatever heights you want to reach, and also understanding that there is kind of a purification happening on earth right now. And we're seeing massive separations in terms of those who are on a path of self purification and those who have been consumed by the toxic debris of this passing age.
Mhm.
So I think that in order to make it through for myself and for anyone who's really looking to transform their life and really to move into the spaces of opportunity that are coming into existence, we have to be very self disciplined not to be sucked into a kind of sunken dark place, which
Mhm.
can happen very easily because the world is divided and toxic. So I think we're being called even more to a level of self mastery. And so that's what I'm focusing on. I'm not looking at goals or um, achieving things or resources or finances. I'm looking to really step up my game personally, and I think we all need to, in self mastery.
Mhm.
And really understand that if we don't discipline our mind, it will get caught up in something. If we don't discipline our heart and soul and really connect with our truth and with whatever ancestral strains are flowing through us, whatever those messages are, um, then it'll be more difficult to navigate. But if we can make that commitment, and by that, it doesn't mean that you have to know everything. It means that you keep renewing yourself moment by moment by moment. So if you're working on something and it doesn't look like it's working, you can't give up. You got to come back and do it again and do it again to the point that we can really walk in that sacred space that is physical but also spiritual at the same time.
Yes, yes, I
So
agree with you.
that's kind of what I'm working on for this coming year. I think it's really necessary, actually.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And in discipline, I think a lot of people struggle with discipline only because there are a lot of distractions that has been going on in the past, but not to mention something's telling me it's going to be a lot more distractions moving forward. So, any suggestions on how people could become more disciplined?
I think it's not discipline necessarily in when I say discipline of mind, and I'm much more of a heart-based person, so I tend not to be too mental about things. I don't think about things a lot. But when I say discipline of mind, is that we have to be very careful what we say to ourselves about ourselves. We have to be very careful to understand that we are vulnerable to absorbing the kind of toxic milieu we're living in. It's like being a fish in water. We're walking around in an environment that's very toxic
Hmm.
and that will endeavor, I say environment, but it comes through in different ways. It could be people, it could be events that will degrade our sense of self and our capacity to connect with our own power.
Hmm.
And that takes a disciplined mind to, at as soon as you recognize that you're saying something to yourself that's not helpful, you got to stop it, change it, and be very disciplined and not sink into states of anger or self pity or rage, it's really important to recognize when they occur
Mm-hmm.
and either correct or heal or explore to understand what that is about. But we just can't let things go and allow ourselves to be just reactive to what's happening around us. So we have to be very internally centered and be able to route out those things in our life that cause us to undermine ourselves and self sabotage and not do what's necessary to be healthy, to be whole, and to be, open and have that capacity to really engage in a real way. So for me, that's recognizing that we're physical beings, but we are spiritual beings. And where we run into some trouble in our culture is that we tend to discount the physical and we all want to go woo woo spiritual, but we have to do both in
Mm.
equal measure. And so that's what I'm endeavoring to do. And, I think that's what we're all trying to do. But to me, that's more important than any end goal.
Right, right. No, I agree with you. So more or less the discipline of the mind, what we're thinking, but also what plays a role in that is what sort of things are we watching on TV or are we watching on YouTube? What are we taking in that we're viewing? Because we can also take in that energy or those thoughts or
Mm.
whatever's coming through the screen, and then that can sort of change the dynamic of where we were on in terms of our journey.
Yeah. And also, what that does is it triggers us. And very often it'll trigger an older wound or an older experience or some idea that we have of ourselves that we picked up somewhere along the line. And then we start acting out that whatever it's been triggered. And it isn't that we should try to suppress that, but to recognize it. So,
Mhm.
say you get triggered, you get into an argument, you want to catch yourself as quickly as you can and they'll go back to where it's coming from and understand that very often the triggering event will have nothing to do with how you feel. And so we want, and then you sort of begin to understand and know yourself a little bit better. So, who is being triggered? Maybe it's when you were 5 years old and you felt abandoned, and that's coming up now. Maybe it's something you tried to have a career but felt oppressed or suppressed and could never realize yourself, so you feel you're not worthy. So I think it's more important to go inside and understand the message that's being given to you through being triggered rather than judging yourself for being triggered.
Hmm. That's actually shadow work. Yes.
Mhm.
A lot of people will be doing some deep, deep shadow work if they haven't already started.
I
And I
think,
got, go ahead.
no, I think everyone is being forced into it by the times.
Yes.
Everyone is trying to navigate this at this time.
Yes, yes, yes. I agree with you. And then there's nothing wrong with doing shadow work, because shadow work is actually a way to dig deeper to help with your healing process. And at some point, we all, should be able to do the shadow work because that would help you grow on so many different levels. Like you're growing emotionally. It's so funny. I've been running into so many people who are 40, 50, 60 years old, and they are emotionally immature. And I'm surprised because I'm like, I would just expect this from someone who's maybe in high school, but that has to do with the fact of they never had the opportunity to truly grow up emotionally, and they never had the opportunity to do the shadow work, or maybe they never chose to do the shadow work.
Yeah, and I think we're being inundated by ancestral and historical unresolved issues that our parents, grandparents on back might not have resolved. We're being called upon to resolve those things because we're carrying it in our DNA, really, and we
Mhm.
need to get through that ancestral work as well, so that we can recover our full power as our own beings. In my opinion.
Yes. Yes, that's it. They call them what, generational curses or generational healing from generation after generation, all of that trauma that's passed on the year after year. And like you said, it's locked into our DNA. And hopefully many of us will be able to move forward and to be able to heal and become better, so that, because if we're better, everyone around us is better.
And I think most people will. And also to remember is all of that ancestral magic is also there.
Yes. Yes.
So we have a
Oh,
lot of tools being, and in some ways we get triggered towards something, or we end up moving into a particular situation, relationship, a job that's horrendous. But in the end, that difficulty is evoking something that's coming through that will be stronger. So to me, the biggest and most important thing is not to self judge, but to just move with the current of what's happening, understand it, move beyond it, and then we're just navigating like we're at sea,
mhm.
moving from one position to the next to the next. And as we do that, we're cultivating our own strength.
Right, right. I agree with you. So I have a question. So to assist people from moving into those triggers, do you feel like breath work would help them with, once they triggered, we automatically go into fight, flight, fighting, the emotions are activated, we're angry or we're fearful. So, and at some point, it seems like people are not even breathing through this process of being triggered. So do you feel like breath exercises or breathing exercises would help us with those?
Absolutely. Breath is probably one of the most important things because breath is life. And as we our breaths as we panic, as we become fearful, the breath gets more and more shallow, and the more shallow your breath, the more disconnected you become. So breath is a key tool in bringing ourselves back into balance.
Wow. So I didn't even know that. That makes sense. And you'd have to remember when you're going through this to remember to breathe. So if you're already doing the breathing exercises, then you'll already be in the process. I was listening to my astrology teacher earlier today, and he was saying that from January through to March, the planet actually will be in the perfect alignment for people to begin to do breath exercises in preparation for any type of triggers that may kick off around like April, because he's looking at the astrology chart. So he's looking at sort of get an idea of when a little bit of the chaos and mayhem may kick over, a little bit of triggering and trauma. And he was seeing that from January through March, the planets are in alignment. And it's like it's in alignment with the earth and the air. And it's the perfect time to start to learn your breathing so that when something happens, you can take the breath and focus and see what you need to do and make the right decisions. Because when you're in fight or flight, you're nervous and it's chaos and mayhem, most people are not thinking. They're not breathing, and it's just, you go into this zone where you're so triggered that you don't realize exactly what's going on within you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. I'm not an astrologer, but I pay attention to it as well. And that makes a great deal of sense, especially developing the tools now because things are going to get crazier through 2024 and 2025 because we're actually entering into planetary positions and alignments, I understand, that have never happened before.
Never. Did you know last year we had so many eclipses, and a lot of them were in the earth signs. And so this year we're having more eclipse, and it's going to be combined with like Mercury and retrograde with full moons and like all of that energy with the planet Mars. And Mars is like a planet of war and aggression, and all of this is going to be packed up in like when we were looking at the astrology chart at certain months. And so this is something that we need to pay attention to so that we're more prepared when these things happen. There was another thing that he noticed. It was Mars again in Cancer, and Cancer is the water sign. And so he was seeing things like, we went back to look at history and we saw where there were floods when Mars was in Cancer. We saw that there were floods, there were tsunamis, there were storms. and also a lot of emotion. A lot of people just feeling like I need love. I need to be nurtured. I was like, oh my, I love the way he was able to look at what's going on in 2024 and then go back in the past and saw what happened. So everybody's talking about Pluto in Aquarius. And the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we had wars. But we already have wars right now. We have a number of wars going on right now.
Yeah, we're in like in an escalator. Things just keep getting hotter. It's more and more ramped up, and the challenges are getting greater and greater, and we don't really know what to expect.
Nope.
But we have to be, I think, very agile and be willing to move and
Yep.
and just be aware and flexible and responsive rather than constricting into fear. We just have to sort of be in a warrior state.
Yes, yes. And he was suggesting meditation to assist with keeping our minds calm, breath exercises also. There was a little bit of mentioning of qigong and yoga, physical, movement. But most importantly, he said the same thing, that we have to be flexible and we have to be prepared, because a lot of us, we become sort of stagnant and stiff, and we're not ready to move for
Yeah,
anything.
absolutely. And I think we have to, just as a civilization, as a people, as a community, stop taking cues from the outside. Like, even with all of the things that have happened in the last couple of years, with all there was wars, but there was always also the restrictions and the pandemic, and there was this enormous influx of fear based on what everyone else is saying. And we need to say, okay, I'm going to take into account what everyone else is saying, but I need to check in with myself and understand what my intuition is telling me about a situation, because your intuition is your personal view, your personal understanding of what you need, that may not be what your neighbor needs, because they might be guided in a different direction. So I think we have to really foster a place where we can have a sense of self trust and self love, and understand that that energy that's flowing through us is our most important guidance point. And even if you don't understand it, I mean, and I say this way back when the towers went down, when the 9/11 event happened. I happened to be a night worker, and the day before, my system was just like, nah, we need to stay home. And I'm arguing with myself, but why? You're not sick, there's nothing wrong. But my intuition was just like, no, do not get on those trains.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt bad about it. I stayed home. But had I not, I would have been in the train system when that event happened. And I just think that we have to get very refined in understanding what we're being guided to can be very specific. And if we follow that, then it can make all the difference. If,
Yes,
if,
absolutely.
things, if things get really, really crazy.
Right, absolutely. It's funny you mentioned the World Trade Center. When that happened, I was working one block from the incident. From I was working one block from where the World
Yeah.
Trade Center used to be at, and I went to work only because I was required to be there earlier than when the incident happened. So it happened at 9/11. I was required to be there work at 9 o'clock. And I said, okay, let me just go in. And my boss, she said, let's go outside when the first plane hit, because we didn't know we were under attack.
Mm-hmm.
She said, let's go outside. We're all outside looking at the first plane that went into the building. And I kid you not, the second plane came through. It was so big and so low, it looked like we could just reach up and touch it.
Mm.
At that point, we knew something was wrong and we were under attack. That plane flew right over us and into that building, and glass was spreading everywhere, and people began to scream and scramble, and They was it was all mayhem and chaos. And like you said though, you just stay calm and you breathe. And even if you find yourself in a situation, if you've been doing the work, know that your ancestors and your guides and your spirit guide, they are there with you, because they said, get your bag. I got on the last train. When I say the last train, the conductor said, this is the last train leaving Manhattan. And I
Wow.
got on that train and I went to Brooklyn, because my mentality was, if I'm going to die tonight, I'm going to die trying to get to my family, or I'm going to die with my family. No way was I going to die there. And so spirit was watching over me. My ancestors are always with me. They're always guiding me and leading me. So never be fearful of praying or asking for guidance or assistance. If you find yourself in a situation where you become frightened or you're afraid, just breathe and think and relax, and you'll be led in the right direction. So don't even stress it out and worry about it.
Yeah, and very often you won't, if you're practicing that as part of your everyday awareness, you're not going to be in that critical situation necessarily. You would have been guided in the opposite direction before, if possible, before it occurs.
Yes. Yes.
So I think that as we move forward, part of it is this breathing and having a mastery of our own psychology and emotions, but also to be able to hear from within what we're being guided or asked to do. Because some of us, like the little children now being born, they seem like they're like very special, a lot of them, very aware, very connected in ways that we may have been as children, but we were in an environment that didn't support it.
Right.
So, and I think that we can be guided in very special ways so that we don't have to worry so much about the disasters.
Exactly.
When you begin to have that kind of confidence in yourself, you could understand, yeah, things are going to be bad, but it's like, well, I got my team with me and I can just move along and take a different road or
Yep.
flow a different way, and you'll be guided to take steps preemptively so that when things jump off, you'll not be in that space, you'll be somewhere else,
Yes.
and be
Yes.
able to you'll be guided towards ways where you can build the resources that you need, where you can make the connections that you need. So it's about being alive in life. So
Yes.
we can
Yes.
live so much more than we're taught to live in the
Yes.
times that we're living in.
Exactly. Gianita, you got prayer and breath work. I want you to add to that list meditation. I want it to be prayer, breath work, and meditation. Because meditation also, it assists with calming the mind. So, and breath work also, all of those will work good together. So you got a little package there, you know? So definitely add that meditation in there. And even if you just doing, say if you've never done meditation, or you're not really a type of person to pray or do breath work, even if you can get in about 10 or 15 minutes of each one, it'll help you. And would you agree with me, Catherine? Just like a couple of minutes.
Absolutely, that will help, but also you can bring your meditation into any activity. So, for instance, Qigong is considered to be a moving meditation. So, you're in your meditation state, but you're including your body in that meditation state. And for people who don't want to sit down and just try to be quiet, maybe meditation for them is gardening. Maybe meditation for them is cooking. But you want to find that space within that can be calm, that you can breathe with, whether you're sitting still or you're doing something that is healing for you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And welcome. I don't want to say welcome to our brother Duke, who's a very, very busy man, family. And so I'm happy to get both him and Catherine here at the same time, because y'all thought I was busy. These two are just as busy as I am. So Duke, do you want to take the opportunity to introduce yourself and let the family know who you are?
Well, thank you. I just want to say Happy New Year's to the viewership, your viewership, the audience as well.
Mhm.
And I'm wishing them a happy and healthy and prosperous new year going forward. I know that I have a YouTube station called Community Cuts, and we do shootings every Friday and Wednesday at certain events. The most important thing to me, I'm listening to you and Catherine, is tapping into the God that's within. And as you tap down to inwards, to the God that's within, most people don't realize that God resides within. And as you tap into the God that's within, you can get answers and you can get directions, you can get navigations, and you can hear. I remember I heard from the Most High that you can't be a victim and a creator at the same time. You have to make the choice. And as I listened to it in my spirit, it reminded me that the creator lives inside of me. And as he lives inside of me, I am a creator. So I cannot claim to be a victim. I have to move to the creatorship. And as I move in that step that I am and tap into the God that's within me, not the God that's outside of me, but the God that's within, I can do all things. So, yes, as I glean forward, I'm looking to tap more within me and ask people to tap within themselves. We're going through 2024. We're going through some uncharted territories, and we're going to need to tap down. We're going to need direction. We're going to need navigation. Most High may say, "Don't walk down a certain block. Walk down another block." And
Mhm.
so, if you're tapped in, you can get that navigation system on, working for you. So I believe that as we tap into the Most High God, that will be navigated as we listen to. Yes, that's what I believe.
Mm, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Um, so tapping in, like what is exactly is that process of tapping into one's like goddess like energy or their god like energy? And is that something that you say that you've already experienced tapping into, or is that something you're looking forward to experiencing in the future?
No, I'm experiencing it now. I'm experiencing it now, and I've been experiencing it for some time. And I remember the first time that I got a message, and the message was not to have any trepidation. And so at the time, I had to look up the word. What does trepidation mean? And so when I looked it up, it was a confirmation of that day that was coming to me. And so,
Oh.
exactly, exactly. So, and the day that I heard it, it came to fruition. So it's going inward. And I think that we as people been programmed to look outside of ourselves, look for answers that's outside of ourselves when the answers are within. And it's a way of going inward and communing with the Most High God, because He said that He would be inside of us. And so, yes, so we have to tap in and know and believe that He is and He will, the source Most High, will guide, because we're going to need guidance going forward. Because again, we're in uncharted territories now, and there's a lot of things that we don't know, and there's a lot of things that we do know. And what I do know is that we have to be tapped in and hearing, listening.
Mhm. And being more observant also, and using discernment and yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all about. That's all that comes with that comes with tapping in.
Hmm.
You're getting downloads. You're being discernment is coming to you. You're able to see things that you wouldn't normally see.
Hmm.
So it's all about that is part of being tapped in.
Hmm.
And as we go in this 2024, we had to get more spiritual.
Ooh,
We had to
wasn't
get
that last year though? Wasn't that wasn't last year the number 7? That was a spiritual year.
yes, but that doesn't end in
Mm,
2023.
okay.
It's always that we always have to be spiritual.
Mm,
And sometimes we get into this religion, that religion, and sometimes it's become a spell, and we don't know how to break that spell. Rather than just tapping it inside and allowing the source, the Most High, to speak to us and get navigations and allowing the Spirit. And
mhm,
as you know, you'll know.
mhm.
Have
You
to
know, it's funny you mentioned that we're under a spell. I feel like we're under multiple spells, like on multiple levels. Like people say we're under like a spell, like it's just one. It's like so many levels to this, like this thing that's happening to us. Do you want to expand a little bit on that? Either one of you?
Catherine, you want to?
Well, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that part of what we're experiencing is the consequence of having been degraded from our our initial, at say at the start of our existence in whatever life stream we are, whatever, however we've incarnated on earth over the millennia. A lot of people think of this time as being somehow evolved, but I think we're very much degraded. It's like we're in, the very darkest of ages. And all of that is about have been spelling us out of our original power. And so all of those are into play in terms of not having a connection to our history, not having a connection to our ancestry, not having a connection to our lands, either by being removed from your land or being disenfranchised and colonized on your land, depending on how you regard it. Disenfranchised from that spiritual power that could build the kind of ancient monuments that we see through archaeology. So being able to understand real language and tones, there's just so much, and all of those are different levels of how we've been undermined and how we've been spelled out of our truth. And now, and I think that's the good news, is all of that is unwinding, and it looks like a lot of chaos,
Yes.
but the spells are being dispelled, and it's up to us to take up that mantle, if you will, or that responsibility to really inhabit the truth of who we are as beings on this planet. And you don't have to be arrogant about it. You don't have to be shy about it. Let's just be whom we are and embrace it,
Yes.
despite all of the spelling.
It's so funny. At times it seems like I'm communicating with people who are on like this certain resonance or vibrational level, because my astrology teacher earlier today was saying over the next maybe 1 to 2 years, there's going to be a discussion about who the original people are for this land here that we are on. This land here. I'm not talking about Africa. I'm not talking about Asia. I'm not talking about here. Who are the original people of this land? And I was like, ooh, that is a hot topic. And then he said there's going to be a lot of truths revealed. A lot of people who've been manipulating, and it's going to be from the top all the way down to your neighbor next door. Like all of this stuff is going to be exposed. And it could be like, because there are, from what he was seeing, because there's so much activity in the fire sign. So the fire signs are Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and they're like everything is on fire and I need it now and we got to do this, and it's like all of this energy and this movement. And so it's going to be a lot of that going on, where it's going to be fast, quick, and it's going to be a lot of like gaslighting energy. And also it's dealing with Aquarius, which is AI. So he showed us a video of Malcolm X doing a speech where he was supporting Palestine, but the speech wasn't real. And I said, well, how would you know the speech is not real? It sounds like him. It has his, like his slight accent or whatever. And the only way he knew the speech was not real, because there were two words in that speech that was not used when Malcolm X was alive. So you have to know your history. You have to have knowledge regarding the language at that time, because I didn't know. I think one of the words was African American. He said they didn't use African American back then. And so, but if he didn't tell me that, I would not have known. And what happened was that this particular video, people were passing it on and on and on. They had no idea that it was AI, created or manipulated. And he was like, now, if they did that, imagine what you're going to see this year. It's going to be a lot of manipulation, a lot of misleading, a lot of corruption. And he was like, get ready for the ride and don't get pulled into whatever you see. You don't have to believe everything that you see, and you can do your due diligence, so you can do your research, or you can go within spirit and work with your intuition and your gut. You guys got an idea of what's going on and what's going to happen. So a lot of people were telling me that they're going to sort of detox themselves from social media this year, because they feel like it's going to be coming from every angle. So they kind of want to just shut that down a little bit and find space to go within and work from within, their mind, body, spirit, and soul moving forward, because it ain't going to be easy, guys.
Well, yeah, that's pretty wild, and I understand it. I've just started toying a little bit with the AI. When you can write a description, then it creates something for you, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy. It's a lot of fun, but it lets you know where it's coming. And I think that's very, very key, that we do have to operate from within. Rather than letting ourselves be influenced by what we see, let ourselves be the creators of what we want to present, or how we understand things, and not be caught up in the narrative of the day, because it keeps changing. And then it's almost as if what they told us yesterday drops off and it doesn't exist anymore. And it's like, but you said,
yes,
now we're saying this.
Yes.
And then it falls away. Then it's like, now we're saying this. And but this has always been happening, I think, and that's what's to remember. Right. Like you were talking about the original owners, history has been rewritten multiple times. Mm-hmm. And certainly Aboriginal people is what I call us, and the original people of the earth, however you perceive that, have been written out of history again and again and again and again, whether it's the Aboriginals of America, Africa, even the Aboriginal people of Ireland, wherever you're from, there is an earth people whom I consider to be the people created in the first creation. God created man and woman and said it was good. Anything that happened after that is not Aboriginal, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But I think that there's a knowledge that we carry that we can rely upon, and that can help us to navigate some of this stuff just by knowing. That doesn't feel right. Now, I might not have caught the African American thing, because I just, sometimes you're not thinking about it, but just that could happen.
Right.
Lets you realize that anything that is being put out there, question it.
Yes.
And you're doing this, they're doing this as they're closing libraries. They're doing this as they're pulling books out of circulation, so that there is no actual pertinent information that we can look back and say, well, wait, in 1920, we knew this. Mm-hmm. In 1910, we knew this. Mm-hmm. In 1860, we knew that. And so anything that was known before this moment is being erased and rewritten.
Yes.
And we have to be very cognizant that that's what's actually happening. So I'm glad you really brought that up. It's true.
Yes, yes. And I want
you can't trust anything that's on a screen.
No.
Unless you know it's you.
Yes.
Like, yeah,
Exactly.
me, I'm not AI, but yeah, it's
Exactly,
wonderful.
exactly. And I want to tell family, if you have the opportunity to get your hands on any books or do any readings or any literature, any research, with them closing these libraries, the way that they're closing and what they're doing also is there are certain books that were recommended to us that we can no longer get access to. So if you get your hand on one of those books, it's almost going to be like I guess like a collector's item or something, because they're shutting it down left and right. And I saw a video the other day where this guy, he had a clock and he would turn the time on the clock, and he was walking around asking the young brothers and sisters from the community, what time does this clock say? Y'all know none of them boys could tell what time that clock said, because
Oh,
they're
they're
sending
not
the children to
accustomed
school
to,
and they're not learning.
and that's part of the whole dumbing down and the narrative of control. And I think we have to hold on to that knowledge at the same time as we let the youth fly, because they can do stuff I couldn't do
Right.
because they understand the technology, but we have to be able to provide for them the truth so that they can build technologies that are based on truths rather than jump on the bandwagon, the false bandwagon, and think they're going to make progress and make money and be part of a system that is ultimately designed to destroy them.
Hey, Pernue, shout out to the brother Pernue family. We had him on a previous
Mhm.
show. When we were talking about Tantra. Hey, Pernue, good to see you, Pernue. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. Duke, did you want to add something else? I believe you had something else you wanted to communicate about.
I just wanted to say that as we drill down, we embodied the uh, the information, the Christ anointing, the navigation system. That we know AI is here, and we know that people Google everything that they need to know. But who is Google? And so when you tap into the spirits that's within, you'll get the answers. You can't go outside of yourself. If you get if you do get a collective item as a book that's important, yes, read it and research it. But yes, there's going to be times that we're going to have to drill down within to get the answers. No one's going to give it to you. Even if the answer is telling you, don't go out today or go out at 5 o'clock. Don't matter what they say, go out at 5 o'clock. So we have to drill down and tap into the resources within us. I remember that movie Avatar, and I loved it when they prayed to the Most High, and the Most High said, "Yes, these are my people too." All right, and the Most High didn't want to destroy anybody because both sides were His people. But after He saw the destruction purposely happening to one side over the other side, He got in. And when the Most High took charge, nature won the battle. Everything was about nature, and nature won the battle. So yes, we can drill down because when we embodied the the essence, the spirit, then we embody as well the manifestation to make things happen. We can manifestate things to happen as we embody the anointing that's within us.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, thank you. Yes, Gianita. There was a movie, The Book of Eli, where they spoke about all the books that were disappearing in the future. And here we are, it's happening right here in our faces. And sometimes they do these movies and we think it's just a movie. And then we don't realize that this could actually be something we'll be dealing with in the future. So if you get your hands on some of those book guys, and some of those books, like I said, they're so powerful that they're not even on the market. Like I had to go to someone else who took it to the copy center and we paid to copy the book so that I would have the book. That's how
Mhm.
powerful some of these books are. So You know what they used to say? You put it in a book, then black people ain't gonna find it because we ain't gonna read it. But we read it today. We reading today because we want to learn. I want to talk about being a creator. Like when you say we are the creators and we could create anything, are you talking about creativity in terms of something physical or creativity in terms of something creating our own space, our own environment, and our own energy to move the way we need to move? Or are you talking about both?
I'm talking about both. I think and I believe that we are creators because the Most High said in Psalms 82, Psalms 86, verse 2, I believe it is, that we are creators. And I believe that once we put our mindset as a creator, we can create things. Magic happens. Magic happens. But we have to put ourselves in that alignment to allow it to happen. And putting ourselves we have to be putting ourselves in that alignment is actually being disciplined. We have to follow, what it takes and be disciplined to do it.
Mhm. Mhm.
God says he resides in us. So if God resides in us, can't we do the same things?
Mhm.
Who's looking at your eyes, Blitz? Who's watching us through your eyes? Right? So
Mhm.
God resides in us. So once we get into that level, that frequency, that energy and frequency is the same thing, but the frequency and energy, once we get into that paradigm, we can create. We are the creators.
Mhm. We actually, I think the majority of the time, we're the ones who are the trendsetters. You know, we're the ones who always lead in the pack, and I don't think a lot of us really realize or acknowledge how powerful we truly are, especially when we're in movement together in unison. We're moving water, guys. We're moving earth. And I want to say shout out to the brother Lloyd Strahan. Lloyd Strahan did a video, and he did a video for each sign, each zodiac sign. And he went across and he was saying that even though this is going to be sort of a difficult movement for some of us this year, however, there will be some of us where the movement is just going to be pristine and easy, and we're going to glide on through. He said, on top of that, a lot of us are going to be activating these gifts, these visions, this foresight. Without, you won't need tarot cards. You won't need to look into a crystal ball. You won't need to look into a black mirror. He was like, these downloads are going to be coming. And a lot of it has to do with, because Lloyd Strahan studies numbers. So a lot of it has to do with him looking at the numbers and the movements and the birth dates. But remember, my astrology teacher is looking in the sky, but he's telling me the same thing that Lloyd is telling me that we're seeing right here, right now. So all of you out here who's activating those spiritual gifts, who's getting those downloads, whose intuition is activating, you don't need to be afraid. Because I'll tell you, as a child, my parents did not want us to embrace that type of thing because we were moving towards where, it wasn't like a good thing to have these type of gifts activated. But you're going to need those gifts this year, people. So embrace it, activate it, and keep it going.
That's
But
one of the things that don't lie is numbers. Numbers will not lie. Narratives will lie, but numbers will not lie. At one point, the Indians used to make it rain when they needed rain, right?
rain dance.
Okay, so they did the rain dance. That's the magic. That's the manifestation that's within them. Same thing that they have is what we have. We're the same people. And so, yes, it's possible. Everything is possible as the Most High God resides within us. We can do those things as well. And they did it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
I also,
go ahead.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt,
No.
but I also think that what you were talking about in the beginning of like Tantra, the raising of the Kundalini, the awakening of the different energy centers or chakras, depending on how you describe them, based on your cultural understanding, is that as we open up all these levels and integrate our levels, energetically, biologically, we get taken to new expansive spaces as well. It's a lot of what uh, Black people certainly suffer from, and Aboriginal people all around the world suffer from, is having the cutting off of all of these energies that, when integrated, we would naturally be walking at that celestial level, by understanding a greater truth of who we are as beings and what we're capable of. And so I think there's that balance. Yet there's the spiritual, there's the understanding of God and Christ, but also there's the just fully embracing all the facets of whom we are as beings, and allowing that to open up bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, so that at the point that we reach that expansion, the third eye is open. We begin to speak and understand on a whole nother level. And I think that that gives an even greater power of creation, because we're at the point of being the creators of worlds and of universes, and we can connect with nature in order to help nature heal, and for nature to help us heal. So I just think that there are a lot of paths to get there. So we can be into yoga, kundalini, it could be qigong, it could be tai chi, it can be whatever kind of self cultivating discipline you have.
Mhm.
The spiritual and the religious, so you could take the path that calls you, because
Right.
obviously that's what you're made for. And rather than judge what other people do, go to where you're called, and
Right.
let other people do them, you do you. And then you meet at the expansive point where everyone's holding a piece of the puzzle, and we start bringing that puzzle piece together, each person with their own gift, as you were saying. And that's when we're really ready to transform, because it is true, certainly Black people, and I think specifically Black Americans, the continent of America, to me, is the oldest continent.
Mhm.
I believe to be the most ancient continent. And I believe that we as Black people are native to this continent as much as we are to Africa. As we're essentially equatorial beings. We inhabited the world before we were defined into little regions. These countries did not exist. So I think that we need to re-embrace that and stop fighting over who's who and where they came from. We are the original beings of the earth, and we need to embrace that and essentially bring it back to sanity.
Mhm.
And, and that's my opinion anyway.
No, I think I agree with you 1000%. Yeah, absolutely. Duke, did you want to veggie back off of that?
I concur. I concur 100% as well. I concur.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to say, when you mentioned the Avatar movie, I remember so much of that movie, of them like connecting with the earth, connecting with the plants and the animals and the bugs and everything. And I want to say that what I've been witnessing last year for 2023, a lot of people connecting with the earth and the plants and the animals and the bugs. Like, there was another brother, shout out to the brother, countryman from the UK. He had some nuts or peanuts in his hand, and it was to the point where the squirrel went to his hand, like right there, and it wasn't intimidated, it wasn't fearful, and it was like it could feel his vibration, to know that he didn't mean any harm, and he
Right.
was able to eat, because that means he's connecting somehow, because those animals, squirrels, run from you, but it didn't do that. Me myself, I was experiencing something where the bees were coming around me and landing on me, and I wasn't afraid of the bees. They didn't sting me. They would just come around. And I just said, oh, that's one bee. I wonder if I can get two bees. Two bees came around me. I said, I wonder if I can get three bees. Three bees came. And it was so a young lady saw me and she came over and she started to swat them and whisk them away and saying that, be careful, they're going to sting you. And I was like, what are you doing? She
Mm.
was afraid for me of the bees that wasn't doing anything at all, because we're a lot of times we're operating in this fear that we're afraid of snakes, and we don't see that hospitals have that snake symbol everywhere. Snakes is also the symbol of the Kundalini rising. Like, what is this? They've got us so afraid of every little thing that if we don't become more in vibration with the earth and these plants and these animals, they're what we're going to need to assist us for what's coming.
Mm.
So if you're not communicating, let me tell you, I'm part Native American. My father said they used to be able to touch the ground and know if someone was coming. Touch the ground and look at the sky and feel the air and know the weather. So if there's a blackout for weeks or months and you need to survive, how are you going to survive? Can you touch that ground and know if somebody's coming around you to attack you or do anything to you? Do you know what plants and what trees that you could eat to feed yourself? Like all of these things where, we gotta be able to be prepared. Do you know how to get an animal to show you and lead you someplace where there's water? We had those type of abilities where we were connected with the earth, the planet, the animals, everything. And it's like we're becoming disconnected. And we're becoming disconnected from each other. All this fights and arguments about, oh, Black women ain't this, and I'm going to go get myself another type of culture of a woman. What does that have to do with anything or what's coming? Because the bottom line is we're all going to need each other.
Correct.
And we're going to need to have access to anything that we could use to assist us moving forward. So if you keep up this fighting, it's going to be a huge divide. It's going to be a group of people who are going to be rising and moving and doing what they need to do, and you're going to be left behind here talking about, oh, this Black man and this Black woman. It's a distraction.
Right.
It's a distraction. It's causing a huge divide amongst us as a people. So we got to figure this thing out, and we're going to need each other coming forward, guys. We're going to really need each other.
We have dominion over the animals of this earth. Therefore, we should not be afraid.
Mm-hmm. You see?
To us.
Connecting to Nate. Look at it. She's feeding the birds. She's feeding the animals. Exactly. Because Carmen, they feel your vibration. And you actually, if you sit, you can feel theirs too. There's no need to fear. It's like also we're fearing one another. We're on the street and you see people, they're fearful of what? When you walk in fear, that's something that affects you with your chakras, and it affects you emotionally. So moving forward, they might want to trigger you with fear. They might want to trigger you with anxiety. You might be triggered with anger or any type of negative emotion that's not necessarily good for you regarding the situation you may be going through, which could be an emergency. So if you could avoid those type of emotions, I know it ain't easy. I know sometimes you get triggered and you just want to just go off and do whatever comes to your mind.
That's true. You might have to turn off CNN, ABC, and all those news networks so we don't get triggered. And a lot of people get triggered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also be mindful of our energy, because energy attracts like. If you think something is going to happen, that is what you're creating. If you can manifest your own power and safety, then that is what you're creating. So we want to stay out of those traps so that we can create the best that we can for ourselves and our family and communities.
Absolutely. And if everyone knows, Aquarius is an air sign and they're always thinking, right? So if you are thinking and projecting what you want to create, then this is the best opportunity for you to do it, because this is going to be the year. We in the age of the Aquarius. You can just think it and make it happen and create it. I kid you not, family. I kid you not.
And that's why it's so important to whatever you post in your mind, it becomes a reality. And that's why it's so important to post the right things in one's mind that can allow the energy frequency to flow.
I love
Yes,
that idea. Post in your
yes.
mind. That's just
Post,
what we
post.
do.
Yes, post it in your mind. Shout out to the brother Panu. He recommended a book to me, and then come to find out that the book is no longer available. And I was like, how do I get the book? Where's the book at? And he was like, well, you can't get the book. You can't find it anywhere. That all the stores and the businesses that sold this book were stores were considered like conscious community stores. And we discovered a lot of those stores closed down after the pandemic. They went out of business, they couldn't survive. And the author wasn't available, he wasn't alive anymore. And I was like, well, I need this book because I've got to learn this. And I said, you know what, Spirit, find the book for me. If I got a copy to go to the copy machine again, please get me this book. Y'all, that book was online and it was in audio, and I got it for free.
Mm.
I called Purdue this morning. I was like, Purdue, I got the book for free. And he's like, what? I said, yes, I did. I said, look, we can make anything happen, y'all. Anything out here happen. Because I was like, how am I going to find this book? I want to learn. Is the brother Panu on? I want to make sure I get the spelling right. It's the Medunetta book. Did you guys know that book is no longer available?
Mm.
Yeah. Do you guys know that book? Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware of that
not
book at
aware.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's no longer available. So if you get your hands on some of these books, there were a couple of books that was done by I forgot his name, but there we go. Thank you, Purdue. So yeah, and we were having this discussion.
Okay.
Thank
I was
you.
like, well, he was like, well, you're not going to be able to find the book, and we were running around, couldn't find the book, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get this book, y'all. And sure enough, I found it online for free. He's still alive. Okay, or maybe I can call him and bring him on the show after we read the book. I love reading books and bringing on the author. So yeah, so this is the book right here. I found it free online, guys. And it's in the audio format. Now, just because that's the other thing I want to say. We might be able to get some of this stuff online right now, but if you could find the physical book, that would be also a gift to have it physically in your house, because I don't know how long this online business is going to be moving forward, or with truth or honesty, or how it's going to be manipulated. Like I told y'all, if they can make Malcolm X say something that we ain't never heard before, they can make anyone say anything that we ain't never heard before. So it's Medunetta, it's volume 1. Shout out to the brother Purdue. Thank you so much. Yes. So we need to start doing our research, our due diligence. And if you can find someone who's going to teach you or guide you, yes, link up with someone who's going to assist you with leveling up. So, and that's what I wanted to communicate about this evening. So moving forward, I feel like there are energies out there. And so I say the word energies because we're all energy. And sometimes people have this energy attached to them that's not necessarily good for you, or not necessarily an energy that you resonate with. And moving forward, you could be headed in a direction where you're trying to focus more on your healing, focus more on your journey and moving forward, so that you're prepared for what you need to prepare for. But you may find some energies within people who are sort of, I guess, manipulative or antagonizing, or maybe teasing you and saying, oh, you spiritual, oh, you can't do this, and sort of like downing you. And it's very negative. These people could be anywhere from your coworkers to your family, to your friends, to your lovers. I want to let you guys know, if you have to cut these people off and stay away from them, do not be afraid to do so, because it's all about you, and you focusing on you, and you healing you, and you nurturing you, and you manifesting your gifts, and you moving forward. So that's like an outside entity or outside source trying to influence you, but they're projecting on you. So if you feel that you have to get from around that person to do what you need to do to get to work or whatever, feel no guilt and no shame moving forward in doing that. And it's no judgment. It's no anger. It's nothing like that. It's just, you feel they're negative, or they're blocking you from your progression, or maybe they don't support you on your endeavors, or maybe you even feel like it's kind of like a crabs in the barrel situation where you trying to level up and they pulling you down. You have to move away from that environment and put yourself in a space where it's like-minded people who are creators, people who are manifestors, people who are connecting you and they themselves are connecting with the right people who are builders. And you put yourself in that type of space where the energy resonates with you. You literally, as soon as you walk into the room or to the space, you begin to feel better, because now you feel like you have the support and you have the guidance that you need moving forward. And like Catherine said, one may do Qigong, the other one may do Tantra, the other one may do plant medicine, another one may do something else. And then you come together and you have the web, the mycelium web for healing you and anyone around you who's willing to support you in that endeavor. So, if you're around people who are antagonizing you or teasing you or jealous of you, or sort of like, I guess you could say, blocking your blessings, and you feel like, you want to be around people who are more at the same level of a vibration that you're at, they're more motivational and they're more energized and they're more supportive, then you go right ahead and you be around those people, because that's where you're going to experience your growth. That's where you're going to experience your support. Because if you're around someone who's experiencing a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety or a lot of anger, and they're projecting all of that on you, what do you think you're going to happen? Every day you come home and this person's, oh my God, you see what's going on? And there's all this fear, this anxiety. You're going to be like, one day you're just going to be like, oh my God, you're going to start feeling that energy of intensity from that person, even though that was not your intentions. You wanted to move forward this year and you wanted to do meditation and yoga and, focus on this. And this person's constantly projecting all of this. And so you want to move forward with truth and divinity and compassion. And you want to be authentic. You want to operate with integrity and honesty. And then you have to put yourself around those people and put yourself in that environment so that you can move forward. And if you guys want to veggie back off of that, yeah, go right ahead.
You're absolutely correct. And I think that we talked about, not today, but yesterday actually, we spoke about people pleasers.
Yes, we had a good conversation about people pleasers.
And as we try to please people, we can, and I didn't understand this until later on, that people can steal your energy. How they steal your energy is by giving you whatever they want to give you, and you start believing it, and you start to please them because you don't want to be left out. And so now your energy is being robbed, and a lot of people don't know it's being robbed. They're being robbed of their energy because they find themselves going around like a hamster trying to catch up. And we can't continue to please people. The only one that we should be pleasing is the Most High God that's within us. And as we move forward in that, on that platform, on that level, then we have to let go and allow the Spirit to guide us, to direct us. And I'm telling you the truth, I have grown up as a people pleaser.
Wow.
And I didn't like it. And after I found out, what it was doing to me, and you have to fight against it, because if you don't, you're going to continue, a person will continue to try to please someone, and that person is put into your life not so that you can grow, is just to take you down another path. You can never please a person 100%, never.
You can never please everyone, because you run into a situation where if you're the type of person, because you have people pleasing on certain levels. You have some people who please, and you have some people who try to please everyone. And if you're trying to please everyone and a situation comes up where this person wants something, this person wants something, that you could almost have a nervous breakdown. Correct. And when these people are used to you pleasing them, they snap their fingers and you jump and you run and you do this and you do that. And the day you don't do that, you already know what's going to happen. right? And then it breaks your heart because now they're angry at you and you feel that anger and you're like, well, what, you beating yourself up? Oh, I wasn't able to do that. And I didn't do that. And I failed. And I wasn't there for them. Didn't support them. But you can't please everyone. And you can't move forward in 2024 being a people pleaser family. You just can't. You just can't. You
And
can't.
we have to learn to safeguard our energy. As we learn how to safeguard that energy, then we can give that energy to those who actually need that energy, and stop scurrying around trying to please or try to do something that literally we just can't do. We
Right.
can't. We weren't built for to please people or please everybody. We can't do it. So 2024 is take care of yourself, take care of your energy, take care
Mhm.
of you, take care of your family. But at the same time, don't try to please everybody. Make sure that you do what you need to do to make sure that they're fine, they're good, but you got to do it through yourself.
Right, right. Because this year is gonna be a lot of people who are gonna be calling on y'all, and they're gonna be looking at those people pleasers first. So don't be trying to be a captain save all these people because at some point you have to take care of yourself. You're not gonna be able to please everybody, and you're not gonna be able to save everybody because whatever is coming to some of these people, you ever thought that maybe you would allow them to figure it out themselves instead of you always saving them? Are you really assisting them with learning anything if you're always jumping in to save them? Right? So sometimes we got to teach people how to fish instead of like always giving them the fish.
That's true. And
Sometimes we just have to allow that to happen. They're either going to sink or swim. And there's a phrase that when they hit rock bottom, guess what? They come right on back up, right? And now they learn to stand on their own. So we can't save everyone. Maybe some people will be able to provide some assistance to, but family, for what's coming, we're not going to be able to save everyone. We're just not. And then it's unrealistic for us to even think that we can. So I want to say, be prepared to release what no longer serves you. Prepare for your future, carry what's for you, meaning that avoid allowing other things and other energies to attach themselves onto you via the mind, stressing you out with anxiety and fear. So carry what's for you moving forward. Focus on yourself, focus on your healing, focus on your business. Yeah, mind your business. You don't need to look at what he doing and what she doing. Mind your business and focus on your family. If you have a family that you're taking care of, focus on your family and prepare for what's in alignment for you, because what's in alignment for you may not be what's in alignment for me. So you focus on what's in alignment for you and you preparing for your growth. Release yourself from any emotional and mental shackles that are attached to you via all these energies that's out here. Break those energetic chains that are latched onto you via your mind, body, and spirit. And I want you to crack open that heart chakra, y'all, and speak from your throat chakra. Express all of that intellect and all those ideas and all that creativity. And once you activate these chakras, you're going to see how easy everything will flow. And everything is going to be just fine. You just move with spirit. And your ancestors, your guides are going to always be there for you. And you'll be all right. You'll be all right. You want to jump in on that? Any of that, you guys?
Well, I definitely agree that everyone has their own path. So those people you're not pleasing are being directed into their path instead of crashing into yours. So let people learn their own lessons in their own time. They'll get there. And I agree with you wholeheartedly that we are headed for a ride, and let's prepare ourselves for that ride so that ultimately we get to that expansive place of being, that we don't have to anymore succumb to the toxic and the negativity and that energy that would cut us off and hold us back. We are ready to fly and we should do it.
Yes, 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 yes. Look at what do you say, Carmen? Sometimes family is not family. Yeah, and all skin folk ain't kin folk, right? We got all these little sayings that's out here that we don't even really acknowledge and recognize. What do you think that mean when you say all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And what is the other one where if all blood is not family or something like that, like family is someone who's truly supporting you and is there for you and is going to guide you and lead you in the right direction. It's not to judge them per se, because that's their journey now, but it's just that you need to protect yourself and your energy. So if someone's on a journey of, let's say someone is using drugs, right? And they're a drug addict, and you see they're using the drugs more and more and more. They're spiraling down, and you trying to save them. And in any way that you possibly can. Saving them to you could be letting them come to your house and feeding them and washing them and taking care of them and letting them sleep. And then they go back out there and they just come in and steal all your jewelry or steal your rent money, right? But what role did you play to bringing them into your house thinking you're going to save them when they need something that's probably more deeper than you just allowing them to come in and just wash and eat? They could need psychological training, and they may even need some type of medication. They may need isolation. So at that point, we have to let it go and focus on ourselves, because you could be causing more damage by trying to reel that person in and save them. Right? So yeah, definitely be careful of those things for
Sometimes
sure.
people are put into one's life to block it, to block them or her, she, or whomever. And so we have to be cognizant of that too.
Yes, you do. It's funny. I meant to mention this story. So I was in a place where there were a few people who were very popular, or I guess you would say semi-famous, maybe. And I went into one of the rooms, and I'm searching. I'm looking for something in the room that is mine. I'm searching through my coat and through my bag, trying to find whatever I'm looking for. In that room was a man and a woman, and they were engaged in a conversation, and the conversation was very toxic, and it was all types of stuff being said, and they weren't arguing or fighting. It was just the conversation itself wasn't enlightenment, and it wasn't positive. So I'm just minding my business, doing what I got to do, but I could hear them. Another young man who was also very popular and up and coming in his stardom, he walks into the room because he's looking for to chill, to have a nice conversation. He sits down. This young man sits down for about 1 to 2 minutes. He listens to the conversation, and he looks at me. I didn't say nothing. He got up and he left. Now, he didn't say anything. He just left. The man and the woman who was in the room with that toxic talk, that toxic conversation, they looked at each other. They said, "What's wrong with him? We didn't say anything to him. Who does he think he is? Why did he just leave like that without telling us?" That within itself is also toxic. And so I found what I was looking for, and I skedaddled. I saw the young lady about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. You know what she said to me? She said, "I didn't realize that I was being toxic and participating in a negative conversation." And she said, "Now I realize that energy I was spewing out was no good for me or no good for anyone who was around me." And she said, "So as soon as I stopped doing that, things picked up for me. Everything started to come into alignment for me." She was like, everything was just manifesting and creating. And I said, "So what about the brother who you was in that room with?" She's like, "Oh yeah, nothing's happening good for him." She's like, he can't get a gig. Nobody's working with him. He can't make any money. He's living in his mom's basement." And I was like, I wonder if he's still entertaining those toxic conversations. But you see, she figured it out. But the young man who came into the room and stayed for 1 or 2 minutes, he leveled up. He moved so quickly that she can't even get to him. She can't even get him on the phone because he's like, "I'm busy. I'm manifesting. I'm creating. I'm doing what I need to do." But she figured it out now. She's chumming up behind him with that other brother in the mama's basement. You see, sometimes we don't even realize the environment that we in and how the energy in that room affects us. We don't even realize it. But this young man, he realized it. I commend him. He taught me something while I was there, just in observation mode. So I just wanted to drop that little story on you guys. Do you guys want to close up on anything with anything? Any advice?
Um, I would just say trust in your journey and stay in a state of awareness so that you could navigate your own path. And I believe everything will be fine. If you understand where you're going, and like you said, you're energetically expanding and improving, you'll get there. It's just don't give up, take it one step at a time, and don't judge yourself. Just keep moving and expanding.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. Duke, do you want to say something in closing?
Yes, I concur with that, Catherine.
Mhm.
Beautifully well said. For
Yes.
me,
Go
I
ahead.
I think tapping into the greater that's within you, and as you listen and hear, meditate, and all the things that we need to do to get there, I think we will reach where we need to go. We will reach where we need to get to as we tap into the God that's within. I believe He will not, Source will not forsake us. We are, and because He is, we are. And as we move forward, we have to realize that we're not alone. We're not alone. We wasn't brought here alone. And so as we move, we have millions, hundreds of thousands, millions of ancestors. So we're never alone. And for one of the things that we should realize is that as we walk through this journey, that we can always call upon our ancestors. We can always go within and get answers because we're not alone, and we'll never be alone. And I think that's one of the reasons that we, as a people, anyone should tap in and be still, be quiet. You can always test the spirit, and as you test the spirit, you'll understand. You'll know, and as you grow, you can expound your love. Love is the greatest energy that there is. Without love, there's nothing. And so as I grow, I try to grow in love because love is the foundation for everything. It's the building blocks for everything. I can't treat people negatively. I can't treat people bad and expect to grow. I can't, divorce somebody out of my life and if they haven't done anything, and expect to grow. I can't be wicked and expect to grow because love is the greatest energy that can move anything. And so I have to move in love. I have to hear in love. I have to have discernment in love. Everything that I can incorporate has to be about love, and it can't be about me. Because if it's about me, I may walk in victimhood and not as a creator. So I have to take myself out of that picture and put the picture of love. I have to forgive even though I don't want to forgive. I have to listen even though I may not want to listen. People who treat me bad, I still have to open that door. It's not about, again, it's not about me. It's about the God that lives within me that allows me to grow, allows me to wake me up in the morning, allows me to see another day, allows me to look at both of you. That's the God that I serve. I serve a mighty God. So, with that being said, I want to share with the audience the foundation of love, knowing thyself. You have to know thyself. And thyself is a part of love, knowing thyself and then allowing yourself to grow and not to live in any fear. Because if you live in fear, you're not loving yourself. There's no foundation of love when you're fearing. And so we have to move beyond the fear. And when you move beyond the fear and move into love, you can do almost anything because you can manifest anything that you need to manifest, even water, food, whatever it is, you can manifest it because you're manifesting in the greatest power, which is love. Thank you so much for having both of us on. We are grateful, gratitude to you and your viewers, and much love, much love.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having us.
Yes, no, thank you for both of you for this evening, for coming out and to communicate your message for 2024 moving forward. Family, as you know, my message is to, if you need to get out from around that environment and put yourself where you can become centered and focused on your journey, then you do so. Self-care, self-love, learn to nurture yourself and protect your energy. That is extremely important for 2024. Know your surroundings, know who's around you. If you need assistance, never be afraid to look for someone who can help you with whatever you need to participate, to grow on with your journey. So it's always someone out here that is on your vibrational level that's looking to assist you and to guide you. Always. With this year, all you have to do is think about it and it'll be manifested and it'll happen. So know that you can create whatever you need to create. You keep yourself and your mind in the right place, in the right mindset, on the focus on things that you need to focus on moving forward. That's going to heal you and your family. Because we clearing generational curses. We clearing out generational curses, y'all. We knocking them out the box. We're not taking this with us moving forward. Moving forward, we're focusing on healing, creating, partnering, manifesting, growing, and we're going to knock it out the box, y'all. So all of these spiritual journeys that we're taking, if it's a physical journey, it's a mental journey, it's an emotional journey, it's going to be emotional. Did I tell y'all that? It's going to be emotional, but never be afraid to express your emotions because that is a form of release. So that is a form of purging. You know, when you take the psychedelics, everybody's like, oh, I got to purge and I got to release. So if you can communicate whatever's going on within you, that's a form of releasing also. If you need to cry, that's a form of releasing also. You holding all of that inside of you and bottling it up, you don't need to do that moving forward. Get rid of that. Brush it off. Knock it off. And move forward. And those energies that's trying to block you or misguide you or mislead you or confuse you, get rid of it. And that's including any news that y'all watching or any of these manipulative videos. If you don't do your research and figure it out, don't let it stress you out. Because in all honesty, what Malcolm said how many other years ago, does it really affect you today? Does it affect you where you live at on your block in your house? Not really, right? When you think about it, right? So focus on what's going to affect you and focus on how it's going to affect you. You know, your environment, your work, you know, your friends, your family. If what they're saying and doing is affecting you emotionally in a negative way, or if it's affecting you mentally or psychologically, and you find that you're not able to stay on the path that was set here for you, because you got downloads and you know what your purpose is now, you may be moving towards your purpose. As you move towards your purpose, you glowing, you shining. People ain't gonna like that. So make sure y'all block it, stay focused, put on these horse blinders like this. Y'all know what these horse blinders are? You don't see nothing on the side here. You just marching forward, focusing on your journey, on your healing journey. So I want to say Ashe, Aho, Adonada. Thank you for joining us, you guys. Mwah. I love you.
And before you go, the the word DNA spelled backwards is and and is a conjunction to is a connection. So sometimes we have to go back to our DNA, making sure that we have to get that DNA in the right order. And I say this because is a conjunction, is a called connection, right? And spelled backwards. All right, that's what
Yes.
we do with that.
Oh, how can they reach you guys moving forward? Do you want to put your email address or your YouTube channel? Duke, you guys have a YouTube channel?
Yes,
Yes, it's called Community Cuts. I
Okay.
didn't type it quite correctly, but perhaps you can put it in there.
Okay, hold on. Community Cuts is the YouTube. And so I've actually been on Community Cuts a couple of times, family. And we're in there just messing around, having a good old time. And I go on Community Cuts because sometimes I just like, you know what? I just want to go on here and just, act the fool and act up. And yeah, so occasionally if you go on Community Cuts, you will see me there cutting up and turning the house upside down because that's what I want to do sometimes. Okay? That's just what I want to do.
Yeah,
And
and I'd like to give my website if I can. It's daoqigonglife.com. DAOQIGONG life LIFE.com for people who are curious to learn more about Qigong.
okay, so I got DAOQIGONGLIFE.com.
Right.
Okay. So, guys, you can reach Catherine at Dao Qigong. And I want to tell you guys, we're going to have Catherine back to talk about some Qigong. And so, if you guys want to learn about Qigong and the benefits of Qigong and the benefits of learning how to properly breathe, then y'all better check it out because we definitely going to have Miss Catherine come right on back and show y'all how to breathe so y'all won't be acting up when the chaos hit. Y'all be like, woosah. All right, guys. So that's it. You guys have a beautiful night. Mwah.
me
I
too.
love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.